anything else. And that's because sea otters don't have that thick blubber layer like most other marine.
So you went, how was your bike ride there?
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was have you ever been up that road?
No.
So nice.
I'm very excited to be able to share them with you because not only are these a local sea lion, they're also the biggest species of sea lion in the entire world. That might catch you off guard a little bit because if you look at them up on land here, you might think you could have seen larger sea lions out in the ocean or in movies. But stellar sea lions have a major size difference between males and females. These females weigh only about 200 kilograms, can weigh up to 1,000 kilograms, or 2,200 pounds. So even though these females might not be incredibly large, their male counterparts most certainly are. You get a good view of their size right here with Ashby on that side platform. But not only are stellar sea lions the biggest sea lions in the world, as I said, they're a sea lion that lives off our coast, but they're not alone. There's a few species of sea lions that call BC home. The other one that's most commonly seen is known as the Californian sea lion. And Californian sea lions are a little bit more famous than stellar sea lions. There are a lot more aquariums around the world, and they also are the ones you can see in great numbers down in California, lying out on docks and stuff like that. But people often mistake these two species, the Californian sea lions and the stellar sea lions. And there's good reason for this. There's a lot of similarities, but there's also a few things you can easily do to tell them apart. One thing, of course, is their size. Stellar sea lions are indeed the larger of the two animals. They are also a little bit lighter in color, but the best thing you can look for is actually to listen. As you can see, these stellar sea lions have a pretty guttural roar to them. But if I asked you folks to make a sea lion noise, I bet a bunch of you would actually make more of a barking noise from what you've heard on TV. And that barking sound is the sound that a Californian sea lion makes, that arf, arf, arf noise. So if you listen to the sea lions, you can tell if it's a stellar sea lion or a Californian sea lion. But not only are stellar sea lions the largest sea lion in BC, in the entire world, they're also the most northern ranging. Stellar sea lions can be found down to about halfway down California, up the coast of Oregon and Washington, into British Columbia, and then up into Alaska and even into Russia. And the first time these animals were ever described by Western science was actually by a man named Georg Steller in Russia when he was trying to find the Northwest Passage. He named a few other animals after himself on this journey, like the Steller's jay, the provincial bird of British Columbia. But when he was describing these animals, he would have been describing a population up in Russia and Alaska known as the Western Stock. Because sea lions have such a big range, stellar sea lions have such a big range, they're broken up into two distinctive populations, the Eastern Stock and the Western Stock. The Eastern Stock are the ones that live here off the coast of British Columbia, and they are quite stable in their population. But the Western Stock is declining very rapidly. In fact, in the last 40 years, we've lost about 80% of that population. And that's one of the reasons we have stellar sea lions here at Vancouver Aquarium, to have them participate in research to understand more about these animals' mysterious lives.
Environment, because you can't just expect the animals to come out here and be completely comfortable in a new area. It'd be like us moving to a whole new home or a new town, and it takes a bit of time for us to get used to that. Well, it's the same thing for the animals, and that's what we'll be doing. But there's key things that we're always working on with the animals. So having the animals go into that holding area over there, what we call gating and separating. So now Izzy and Ashby are away from each other. We want to get them used to that. Something that we refer to as caging or kenneling, as most people refer to. If you have a dog out there, everybody, if you have a dog out there, raise your hand. Anybody who... Excuse me, thank you. If you kennel train your dog, raise your hand. Yes, there's a few of you out there. Kennel training is a very important thing, and we do that here with our animals as well. That allows us to be able to move our animals around to different areas. If we need to go take them to see them to our vet, if you need to go take your dog to a vet, you may kennel train. Now, you may have a cat, you may kennel train your cats as well. I certainly have seen that before, but it's more commonly referred to with dogs. Well, we do that with the sea lions as well. We have this is our kennel, what we call our transport cage. We have it on wheels because these guys are pretty heavy to move around. And we always want to reinforce this behavior and build that up. So working on them going into that other habitat, so for gating as well as kenneling into their transport cage, very important. And we highly reinforce this behavior. So it means we use a lot of reinforcement, a lot of food when we're doing this. Very important when you're kennel training your animals. You have the animals go in, be nice and comfortable for closing the door, as well as being comfortable for opening the door. Ashby's kind of getting in the way there, but that's okay. We'll work on that. But that's a very important aspect of the behavior. Also, making sure that your animals go back into your kennels. Again, because sometimes they go in and they don't always want to go back in after. So it's something to always work on with your animals, and we do that here. But we got to also make them comfortable in all different parts of the habitat. We can bring Izzy up here. We can get a weight. You guys can read the scale. What does that say? 211 kilos. So pretty decent sized animal. We weigh the animals every single morning. Very important to keep track of that. And then we'll do measurements of the animals on a regular basis. The most important behaviors that we train the animals are ones that allow us to be able to look over them. So I can ask Izzy to lay down here. I can ask her to roll over. I can take a look over her body. I can take a look in her mouth. I can even take a look inside her by doing blood samples, ultrasounds, x-rays. This is an important part of caring for the animals. There's lots of different aspects to care, both the husbandry, those healthcare behaviors, as well as some of the energetic behaviors that we train the animals to do as well. Izzy, water. So that's a little bit about training. It doesn't just happen overnight. We spend a lot of time out here doing all sorts of things with the animals, building up that relationship so we can do those. So with that, I'll pass it back over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Troy. How about a big round of applause for training in action? It's pretty impressive.
What's it doing in the glass?
Saying hello.
Кружатся и чешутся. Ну как я в детстве. Хвостик чистит. Грязные, что ли? Откуда их?
Vad är i den där? Vad är i den där bollen? Vad är i den där? Vad är i den där? Men den simmar väl inte runt, den är nog aldrig stilla. Är det där den? Ja, nej. Det där är den.
어, 맘에 여기 있어. 엄마 산다. 엄마 샀지? 엄마
Свои дела.
The reason that you'll also find African penguins here at the Vancouver Aquarium, that reason is because they are now endangered species. Ambassadors for their species means that they are here to help us to learn more about them and so that more people can learn about what's happening to African penguins. Because before coming here today, is there anyone who didn't know that there are penguins in Africa? Yes, hands going up. Oftentimes we think about penguins as only living in Antarctica where it's cold and snowy, but in fact in our world we have over 18 different species of penguins, and only 4 of them nest near Antarctica. The rest of them are spread out throughout the southern hemisphere, including in South Africa, where that wild counterpart of Hope Hope herself, though, is, well, waddling actually turns out to be the most energy-efficient way for an animal like Hope to move because they have their short legs and big feet. Waddling back and forth helps them to save energy. We found this out because some scientists in California some years ago actually trained penguins to walk on treads in the water, where she can move much faster. Using those powerful wings as paddles, she can propel herself through the water, reaching speeds of up to 20.
Сейчас просто залез. Вот.
This is in here.
So very advanced healthcare behaviors that we ourselves ask to get done at the doctor's office. And we come down here, we can ask for a blood sample. Like I said, the asthma. So they can participate. Спасайте. Видишь, они вот это ставили в аквариум.
Ano siya, no? Please don't come near me.
대리를 줬어?
Напоминает акунал.
Gal, ты твоего знакомого поймали.
Помнишь, мой знакомый был в 3 раза больше. Да, Саша, вон там наверху. Там смотри, ой, смотри, как мы скажем. Улыбаемся. Ой, какие хорошенькие вот эти, смотри.
Да, а вот видишь,
Вижу, вижу, да. Там внизу эти, скажем, плавают.
Там было написано, что эти акулы, они только играются с
Пятнистый вообще. И этот, они все вот другой вот окрашиваются.
они разные.
Разные?
Да, они разные. Вот, они не привыкли.
Погладь его, погладь.
Погладь легко.
Погладь ее.
Get ready to take them swimming. The base is everybody's different now. And they keep it very nice slide.
Рыбки.
Где удивление? Кого они жарят? Вот они чем питаются?
Они в основном такие динамичные, они живут в аквариуме держат.
That's a snake. He's sleeping.
Species of dolphin. You can shout it out if you know. Orcas, that's right. And then we have pilot whales and then false killer whales like Chester. The reason they have that name is because scientists noticed the similarities between their teeth and their skull to those of killer whales. False killer whales are a subtropical species of dolphin. You're more likely to find them in warmer waters and only occasionally spotted here on our coast in British Columbia. Although Chester is the larger dolphin in the habitat today, he's also the younger dolphin at just 3 years old, compared to Helen, the Pacific white-sided dolphin, on my right now, who is in her early 30s. Joining both dolphins are our trainers Rachel to my right and Tiana in front of me on the blue dock. Let's give everyone a welcoming round of applause. People have been dazzled by dolphins for many years now, and this is great for us because with your support, dolphins have a greater chance of survival because of the research programs that are happening here at the Vancouver Aquarium. In fact, both dolphins have gotten a second chance at life because both are rescued and non-releasable animals. There's underneath her body that she's giving a shake there, and you can see the damage from being tangled up in fishing nets. Unfortunately, this is something that happens to hundreds of dolphins in our oceans every single day. But Helen was lucky. She was rescued and cared for at a Japanese rehabilitation facility and brought back to health. However, she was deemed non-releasable. That means she can't return to the ocean as she would not be able to survive. So she needed a permanent home, and she came here to the Vancouver Aquarium in 2005. Now for Chester, the false killer whale, his rescue story starts a lot closer to home. Has anyone here been to Vancouver Island before? Local cetaceans you might be seeing, and then the tools you need to tell us where you've seen them. With your support, dolphins have a greater chance of survival because of research programs like the BC Cetacean Sightings Network, which all of you can now participate in. The Vancouver Aquarium, an Oceanwise initiative, is a non-profit organization dedicated to the conservation of aquatic life, and we couldn't do it without your support. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of the dolphins and the trainers, thank you so much for being here today, and have a wonderful rest of your visit here at the Vancouver Aquarium. Thank you once again for being here today. If you would like to read more about the research that dolphins have participated in here at the Vancouver Aquarium, or if you would like to see a video of the day that Chester was rescued, that can all be found in our underwater viewing gallery. Reach through the stairs at the opposite side of the habitat for me, all the way to the end of the British Bridge. Feel free to stick around and watch the train.
You've got bracelets on.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Vancouver Aquarium. My name is Rachel. I'm just behind you here at the honor of this happy our final show of the day, the final features training session with our five sea otters in the upper otter habitat. If you are going to join us up here, there are some cool healthy rules, and I'm going to ask that everyone please stay off of those silver railings as well as the rock work around the habitat, especially on a rainy day like we're having today. They can get quite slippery, so we're just going to ask that everyone please have their clothes on the ground at all times. And you're going to take pictures and video throughout our training session just to make sure that all your personal items you stay well on your side of the house. We don't want anything to fall in as it can be a hazard for animals if anything does. So if you do notice anything dropping or happen, please let's hold
I want to go outside in the show.
It's better to see from here because you can see them eating and there in the water. Yum, 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 yum.
So if you were able to place your thumb on the side of a sea otter, you would actually